Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I want to have a real conversation about John Fetterman and the election of him and try to understand why it is that people elected a person who is not of sound mind and we don't know if they ever will be. And before anybody gets started, without watching the video or jumping to conclusions, I'm not a Republican. And if he was a Republican, I would criticize him the same exact way. So let's roll into it. When we talk about people becoming politicians or joining the political atmosphere, political realm, we always hear people say, well, they have to have enough money, or they have to know people, or they have to have been to college or ran a business or done something, right? We look for qualifications in what tells us this person will be a good politician and represent the people well. And that's why John Fetterman is such a big issue to me and should be a big issue to everybody for that matter. If we want to look at qualifications and disqualify some people for some things and other people for other things, then what are those qualifications? Because John Fetterman was chosen because he just wasn't a Republican, because he just wasn't Dr. Oz. And the pain that will come from that will be felt by the people of Pennsylvania. And then they'll wonder why that happened. And it's because we're not actually looking at the facts behind our candidates, and we're having these popularity contests or these contests of he's not that bad guy. It has become so bad as far as the candidates that both parties put up that John Fetterman got elected. Joe Biden got elected. These men are clearly not of sound mind, and everybody from the outside of this battle looking in can see it. All the other countries can see it. And for us to pretend as though that these men are of sound mind is a lie to us and is a lie to why we have elections and why we ask candidates to be qualified. If all it takes is for you to not be somebody else, then what are we trying to elect in our country? If Dr. Oz had attacked Fetterman the way Joe Biden attacked Donald Trump, then the world would have had a conniption fit. Because you can't talk to someone who's not of sound mind in that way. You can't kick somebody when they're down. If Oz was to actually have thrown any political punches in that debate that any normal candidate would have at another normal candidate, then Oz would have been criticized, villainized, and he would have been the worst man ever because he attacked someone who's not equal. So then why are they running against each other? Why is there a debate? And why do we ask for qualifications of our candidates if we're just electing people because we feel bad for him, or that we just don't want Oz? We just don't want Trump. We just don't want Republican. And a lot of this has been fueled off of this lie that if you don't support Democrat, then you're anti-American. But yet the Democrat Party stands against the Constitution, trying to take your gun rights and your freedom of speech. And somehow those are the qualifications that we're looking for American senators, congressmen, and presidents, is people who don't stand for our Constitution and who don't represent us clearly. Because the real reality is that Fetterman isn't qualified for the job. He might have been before he had a stroke, and I feel bad that he had a stroke. I feel horrible he had a stroke. And is it just important that we just vote people in that we really like? Or what is going to be most beneficial for America? Nobody's all bad and nobody's all good. So to choose a person because you just like them, they could be a horrible person who's stealing everything from right out from underneath you and you don't even know. And that's what we're seeing with the Democrat Party is complete failure of leadership. But because they say all the nice things and they, don't hurt people's feelings, and because they point out all the mean things that the Republicans say, somehow that is what people value over whether the person can do the job or not. If we were voting NBA players in, you wouldn't vote in people who were in wheelchairs. Qualifications are hugely important. Why even bother having job interviews if we're just going to hire anybody and that their qualifications don't actually matter, right or left? And the desperation of the Democrat Party to just be in power without any real goals of leading and then say that it wasn't their fault. The gas prices, that wasn't Biden's fault until it was time to take credit for it. And now that prices are going back up again, oh no, that's not Biden's fault. The qualifications and the outcomes of our politicians' actions matter. I don't want to not elect this man to the NBA because he's in a wheelchair. If we started running sports based off of feelings, then none of us would watch sports anymore because we'd be watching a whole bunch of unqualified people play a game that isn't interesting anymore. It's only interesting when qualified people are in play. Life only works well when proper qualified people are where they should be. Companies operate best when proper qualified people should be in place. If we're not going to worry about qualifications, then anyone who's watching this should be the CEO of Walmart. What's best for our country is the most important thing, and paying attention to the actual best qualifications and not just because we don't like somebody else. I know plenty of people don't like Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump, but he still was the best candidate for the job out of the two horrible candidates we had. And if people don't see that now, then there's nothing going to show you. There's no amount of reason in the world that can tell you that what you don't know until you find out that you didn't know it. Thank you to all my new subscribers and the subscribers who've been here forever. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Later.